Today on the workbench we have our MST RMX2.0S ready to run kit, doing what is possibly the first best upgrade to this vehicle, a Futaba controller and a Futaba gyro. Hey everybody, this is Troy, Roadside RC. On this channel you see us doing bashing and crawling and drifting and sometimes racing. You also see a bunch of how-to videos, and that's exactly what we're doing today. So we've had this MST ready to run drift car kit for a while now. This is the vehicle that we recommend for most people if they're trying RC drift. You can pick it up for like about $360, something along those lines, and out of the box you can be drifting at your local drift spot. But it's not perfect, of course, as you may imagine. And so one of the first things that we believe you should do on this vehicle is put in the Futaba controller and a Futaba gyro. It'll allow so much more control over this vehicle, so we're going to install it today and show you the difference. What you'll see here is basically this car's almost stock controller, and we're using a boom racing gyro, which is actually in theory a little bit of a step up, a very entry level like $40 step up versus the stock MST gyro. But what you'll see is it's really still kind of fairly hard to control the car. Yes, you can get it to drift. Yes, you can get it to go around some corners. We get some smooth action here, doing with some figure eights. You can nail the corner. It is completely possible, but it is a lot different than this same version that I have in the kit when I have the updated gyro and controller on it. Same thing with my Sakura D5S once we have the better controller and the better gyro in it. First up, so why this Futaba gyro? Well, it turns out it's actually the GYD 450. This is the same gyro that we have been running in our other vehicles. Futaba just came out with the GYD 550 that's even better, but the good news is this one actually went down in price as that 550 came out. So it is more affordable and it is very, very nice. And why the Futaba controller? Well, the Futaba controller, I actually was able to get this one. It's a slightly older model, the 4PL. I actually got it on eBay for $100. So it allows the third channel control that we want, where we can actually go positive and negative to put it in AVCS mode. And it'll, you know, for $100, that's a really, really good deal. We're going to show you what we have. So the gyro is installed up here on the top of the chassis. We got our Futaba receiver in there. So far left side of this actually comes down and gets plugged into channel 1. So that is your actual steering control from the transmitter through the gyro that goes end up to the servo. The second wire actually goes to your third channel. Now your third channel, this is what we're gonna go through the programming here in a second, but this is where you're gonna be able to actually control how strong and how sensitive the gyro is from your controller, which is a big help. And then the third slot over here all the way to the left, I went from right to left. This third slot is the one that actually outputs to your servo. Now with everything set up, one of the things that you need to do is you need to set your steering endpoints. Now, you need to look at this both within the controller itself, and you need to look at it within the gyro. So what I typically do is I actually use the settings in here that we'll go over in a minute to turn the gyro all the way to 0 and make sure that in the controller settings itself, my steering endpoints are set somewhere near to where I am not overexerting the servo at full lock. That per the steering wheel inputs, I am almost, it is done. It doesn't have any more input. Once we get to full lock, that way it keeps you from burning out your servo. The other thing you need to do though is you need to set it on the gyro. So the gyro it comes with a little handy dandy screwdriver, and right here it has a little potentiometer that you can screw up or down with it. So what you do is you turn all the way to one side, and then you can actually adjust the gyro setting endpoint with this. Now obviously you need the gyro turned back on, so you need to have it not at 0 on your controller. You need to have it turned up so that it's actually functioning, right? And you can confirm that it's functioning. But then you get to actually set, over here you can actually use this to set the endpoints. Very, very important, because if the gyro thinks the endpoints are shallow like this, then it will only control to that area. It'll be too sensitive. What I've found is if the gyro thinks the setting endpoints are way out past where it's going to steer, then it's not actually sensitive enough. Alright, and here is where this all really comes together and really helps out. So now we have the Futaba controller. It is connected to the car. And when we go in here, there's a couple things that you will really need to really watch. So your channel 3, channel 4, this is why I recommend this controller or some ones that are nicer than it. I don't believe that the Futaba 3 PV actually offers this control. And I don't believe some other things like I ran before, like a Fly Sky and some of those, offer this control either. So if you come into the channel 3 and 4, what you'll see is you'll be able to actually control that third channel in both positive and negative. Alright, so as an example, if I bring this third channel all the way down to 0, so it's actually all the way at 0 right there, when the steering, of course, completely still works. However, what you've done is turned off the gyro. The gyro is literally doing nothing whatsoever. If I bring this back in focus, and we then go all the way negative, what you'll see, steering still works completely fine. And if I steer and let off, right, so over here what I'm doing is I'm steering, let off. Steering goes back very fast, right? And then gyro is now working. You can see the gyro working very well. All right, that is your standard drift method. Okay, and that performance that you just see there, now we're all the way over here at this -100. Now that's the same kind of performance that you can get if you are using something like a Fly Sky or something like that, where you only have one-way adjustable on the controller in order to control the gyro. But here's where this gets really interesting, and this is what really unlocks the magic for me personally in my drifting, is now we're going to take this all the way to the positive side. Alright, when you do this and you put this gyro in the positive mode, it triggers AVCS, is I believe what they call it, in the gyro. And now what you'll see, gyro still works like a champ, but compared to what we did before, if I take this and I turn, you see how it comes back slow now. So it's actually a slow return, and for me what this does is it makes the drifting a lot smoother and a lot more controllable. The other benefit that I find with this AVCS mode is I'm able to run the gyro at a significantly higher rate, usually all the way up to almost 100, and it still doesn't have gyro wobble. A lot of times you see people complaining about having the front tires actually wobble with them, especially down a straightaway. Because of that slow return, it actually helps to minimize that, so that's really, really helpful. All right, so honestly, this has been, I hope, very, very helpful for you. This is my take on really what are the best things to do with the MST RMX ready to run vehicle. It's a very good deal right out of the box. You can drift this car around, but it's edgy, it's hard to control. It's not super easy to control. And that gyro, putting in this GYD 450 gyro from Futaba, is a huge benefit. Even if you do nothing else but leave it even probably with just the stock controller and throw that GYD 450 in there first from Futaba, that is a huge first step, all right? After you do that, though, in order to truly unlock all the benefit of that gyro, you really got to get a controller that can do both that positive and minus, so that you can put that gyro into that AVCS mode, and that really unlocks the handling of the car. It is personally my favorite. I run a Futaba controller and that same GYD 450 in every one of the drift cars that you've seen me drive on this channel, rear-wheel drive drift cars. So I really hope this was helpful. Links are down in the description, all that kind of stuff. Please go check them out. Look at this if you have an MST RMX. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, hey, check out some of these other videos and everything else that we got going on, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your support. Goodbye.